Hey, I'm Sam, and if you've been following me, which you should on the socials, then you would know that this is LUCY, my DIY loop station that I built about a year ago, and it's been pretty great. I've enjoyed using this. I've played a couple of gigs, some shows, did some recordings, some better than others, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun using this. The only problem is it's starting to show its age, and also it's not held up the best. There's some problems I have with this that I would like to rectify, because I do plan to do quite a bit more live shows, and this thing just isn't quite cutting it. And I'm going to be building a Mark II version of LUCY. Don't worry, I'm not tearing this thing apart to build that version. I'm keeping this one because I'm sentimental that way, but I am going to follow a lot of the things I did building this, but improving on it in certain ways and adding more functionality to LUCY. So follow along as I attempt to build LUCY Mark II. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Bye. Whee.
Okay, so here's a closer look at LUCY. I'm still really proud of how it turned out. I like all the little functions I baked into it. Yeah, you might be wondering what's wrong with it. Well, I'll let you have a listen to this.
That's way too loud.
Another major problem I really want to fix are these buttons. Yeah, they're aesthetically pleasing and they make the board compact, but they don't always work. They're pretty unreliable, and especially you can't press them without these button toppers, and I had to fill it with hot glue and it still won't stay in, so you see the problem.
Yeah.
And next up on my list of changes I'd like to make is just, like, I want to streamline this whole process. As you can see here, I'm putting everything into this bag. I have my audio interface, I have the board, my MIDI keyboard, and there's just too many moving components. I would love to streamline it to just the board and maybe the MIDI keyboard and a few cables. I don't really want to pack my audio interface as I want to do. It's just a bit of a hassle, and I don't really want to do this every time I want to play.
Whew. And I have to do that every single time I play a show. Not to mention, this goes into my guitar bag. My guitar still has a bag. I still have a bunch of other cables to deal with. It's just, we could do a lot better.
And do better we will. First up on the list of changes and upgrades to the pedal board is, well, the pedals. And these are the pedals I've went with. They are really well built, super solid, and most importantly, they're quiet. These are the Roland DP2s. And yeah, I went all in, go big or go home, right? They are really expensive though, so this was probably the most expensive part of the build. I did consider these other pedals, but they just didn't quite fit the bill. The Roland's better. And other replacements for the buttons and button toppers to the pedal board, I actually went with these sewing pedal button things. They're actually pretty solid, they work well, and I don't need to worry about these annoying button toppers falling off. On to everything else the board needs is the brains of the operation, which is this Arduino. It's a clone because I'm on a budget, but I'm sure it'll work just fine. I'm also pairing with this OLED screen, curious to see how that'll work. And a USB-C hub is going to power and control everything inside the loop station. Is going to pass through just one cable, so hopefully just a one cable setup. And finally, my good old Behringer UM2 audio interface. I'm not using this anymore, so I'm fine having it live inside the loop station for the rest of its days. It doesn't have two active preamps, so I'm gonna have to install an active pickup into my guitar to have it work with this loop station, but that's okay, I have one here. And finally, housing all of this is gonna be some MDF board. Yes, the loop station is gonna be built out of MDF. It's cheap, it's available, it's relatively sturdy, and I had it cut to size for me. Alright, first things first, it's a good idea before starting any project or build to have an idea of where you're going, and this is why I'm building a Mockup. I'm doing it out of cardboard because I don't know how to do 3D modeling. I'm not a whiz on the 3D modeling software stuff, so I'm doing it by hand, the old-fashioned way of cardboard. As you can see, I'm using LUCY MkI to line up and copy some of those dimensions and make a new board with new dimensions out of cardboard, and I'm going to transfer all those dimensions to the MDF. And as you can see here, we have the cardboard loop station all done up, but this is basically how the final loop station is going to be laid out, where all the pedals are, the audio interface, and the I/O. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
What I'm going to do next is, I have these pieces of MDF here, and I'm going to start marking out where I'm going to place all the bits on the MDF. So I have this template with the markings. I'm going to take this, take the measurements, and trace them onto the MDF, and then I'll start working from there.
You might be wondering why MDF when I built the last loop station out of wood, which is a better material in my opinion. Well, MDF is maybe a bit easier to work with. I am less skilled as a woodworker, so I actually need all the help I can get. And MDF is cheap, it's available, it's relatively easy to work on. As you can see later, I make some mistakes. I'm still able to use the MDF and have a really usable and solid result, whereas with wood, I need a better tool, I need more skills. So yeah, MDF is the right choice, I guess, for this application. Although in the future, I do plan to use different materials. So I'm gonna shut up now and let you watch me work. I know it's a bit weird, me watching YouTube, but yeah, a little peek into the mind of someone who can't focus on one thing at once, so I have to watch a bunch of random YouTube videos. We'll see what kind of stuff I'm watching, but yeah, this took a lot longer than just these few clips you're about to see. Enjoy. Now we just need to transfer these to this. I'm gonna do it this way.
Learn is Amanda Waller's daughter. Wins an eagle. He could just not. That's DC. It really does, as we see him slowly dry out. Fern immediately recognizes, just from the description, it's a red flag for butterflies.
So, in my first ever making of Lucy the Loopstation video, if you haven't watched that already, you should definitely check it out. It's on my channel. I didn't manage to record any of the woodworking footage, so to make up for that, here is an entire section of just me hacking away at wood. And if you're wondering what that sound in the background is, it's a mosque. I live in Malaysia, and we have so many different cultures and wonderful things here. And yeah, so every once in a while we hear a mosque going off. I don't have any control of it. They have certain times where they like to pray, and yeah, it's just nice to live in a country that's as diverse as Malaysia, and I feel really blessed to be here. I know I'm going off on a tangent a bit, but I just wanted you to know what it is. And yeah, enjoy the footage of me struggling to cut up a bunch of old wood chunks from LUCY MkII. Actually, this is leftover wood with the primitive hand tools I have. This took so long, so much longer than you could ever imagine, but I'm glad I recorded almost all of it here. This was a bit of a pain. I just put on some podcasts in my earphones and just hacked away at this, because once again, I cannot focus on one task at once. I have to have some extra thumb stimulation. And if you're worried that, oh no, his fingers are absolutely too close to the saw, as you can see here, I have a sizable gap between me and the saw.
Almost dropped it.
More chopping, more hacking, more of this stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this. Enjoy me suffering. Kind of messed that one up a bit, but it's okay. Okay, we've got to a point where I'm a bit scared of this next part. I just got a new tool, which is a Dremel, and really excited that I finally have a new power tool, but I'm also really scared. I've never really used a Dremel before, and I'm kind of scared of that like spinning wheel of death. Wish me luck! Oh my goodness. That is a lot faster than I thought it would actually spin. That is horrifying. I am genuinely afraid. Let's try out one of the bits that isn't a spinning wheel of death first. Okay. Wow, that is a lot stronger than I thought it would be. It smells like burning and death. I'm not... I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I don't know. It's quite an unpleasant smell, if I'm being honest. The MDF smells like it's burning. Okay, that's not good. The cut I made is not pretty, like at all. Overall, from that tiny cut, still not a lot of confidence. I am very uncertain about this whole Dremel situation. I don't think this is the right bit for cutting MDF. I might be better off just scoring it with a box cutter and cutting it the old-fashioned way. I might actually do that. So, forget the Dremel. I'm just gonna score it with a box cutter. Kind of taxing on my wrist, but it's better than whatever damage that Dremel did. I realized I was using the completely the wrong bit. You live and you learn. I'm just gonna stick to using the box cutter. Alright, lesson learned. Next time get the right tools for the job. I ended up using a very blunt box cutter to chop out these bits. It took a lot longer than I expected, but we got there in the end. The aftermath, the next day, I glued the blocks I hacksawed together, and I was stuck on some sticky tape. The hacksawed bits of wood are going to act as like razors for the sewing pedals, so I can have them at an elevated position compared to the bottom pedals. I know it doesn't make much sense, but you'll see later on the final design. Here I'm just going to drill out all the holes for the pedals to mount to, and all the other bits and bobs. So the side panels they need to be mounted on. I'm screwing it in right now. And yeah, it's a lot of screws, a lot of drilling, a lot of measurements, a lot of going back and forth. Almost messed up here. Dropped the screw somewhere it shouldn't be. Right there, yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of tedious work. I've only managed to show just a smidge of all the work that it took, but this took like 2 to 3 days in total.
There we go. My ingenious way of opening a package with a screwdriver.
But I won't lie, it was oddly therapeutic, just putting on some podcasts, zoning out, doing the work, and in the end, the work speaks for itself. I think this is a lot more sturdy than LUCY MkII, and I'm pretty happy. And, well, the moment I've been dreading has come. Pardon the rough look, I've been spending all morning doing this, so I have to cut the cable off these beautiful little pedals. Now, this wouldn't hurt as much if these weren't so expensive. They're prohibitively expensive, and yeah, but I don't see any other way of them fitting inside with all of this hanging off of it. There's just too much stuff, so I'm gonna trim it just about there. Well, ain't nothing to it. I think I'm gonna clip it right about here. Here goes nothing. Ah, that was 15 bucks right there. But yeah, we got a little cable free of its shackles. This is actually a really pretty high quality cable, so I'm gonna keep this and use it for some future projects. Now to just snip the remaining 5 cables. Snip. Snip. As if snipping off the cables off these very expensive pedals wasn't enough, I'm gonna be drilling holes into the back of these. Yeah, fun. Pedals are screwed down. It came out exactly straight. It's alright, as long as it works. It's functional. Don't mind my ugly toes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna call that a day. Tomorrow we'll work on the wiring. Alright, wiring day. And this time, I actually feel like I came prepared. So I have better tools, I have more wire, and everything I need to make this job as painless as possible being the key word, but yeah. Alright, wiring time. I don't know if I actually like this or I don't, but once again, this is kind of therapeutic, kind of stressful, but I think my soldering skills, my wiring skills, they are getting better since the last time I attempted building a loop station. So yeah, I got better tools this time. My soldering iron gets properly hot and melts the solder well. I have enough cable, the right length of cable. I have all the tools I need this time. I really did come prepared, and I think this wiring job went a lot smoother and a lot faster, especially compared to last time. It's done. All the bits are wired up. But knowing me and my luck, I knew this was going way too smoothly and it was going way too well. I knew something bad would crop up eventually, and indeed it did. my luck did eventually run out, and I noticed some
Enter
problems.
debug mode and see if the buttons work. Probably something wrong. I'm not sure if it's because it's a cable issue or... Oh boy, something's not working. I'll have to figure this out. Alright, I borked it. I borked the OLED. Turns out dropping it on the floor onto concrete, indeed this breaks something so fragile and small. Every time I plug this into the correct pins, I mark them all down, cross-checked, it just breaks the connection with the computer. So yeah, I'm gonna go online and order another. Thankfully these aren't really expensive, they're relatively inexpensive boards, so it's still unfortunate. It's another added cost, but what are you gonna do? Okay, problem. I have run into a pretty substantial problem. I had figured, I thought I wired everything correctly, but it turns out maybe I didn't. Something is not working with that Arduino board. It is registering on the Mac, you can see it light up, but it's just none of the buttons work, even in serial monitor mode, and I'm a bit worried it might be the pedals. I knew I would hit a snag somewhere, but I didn't think it'd be this early. Oh. Gonna go try to troubleshoot this. It's gonna be boring, so I'm just gonna fast forward to it until I find something. Update! I learned something. Okay, so I'm new to this shit. I'm sorry. So I thought switches, they worked as like just ones and zeros, but it turns out there are a few kinds of switches. There's like a normally open type of switch, which is this. When you close it together, it becomes a closed circuit, so it creates current or something like that. And then there are normally closed switches, which are depressed or closed by default, and when you trigger it, it releases. And these roll-in pedals are normally closed switches. So it was messing with the Arduino, because the Arduino didn't know what to do. Some are open, some are closed, so it had to be done with software. But I figured it out thanks to ChatGPT. Shout out ChatGPT. It works now. So every time I press a button, boom, 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 it works. The rest aren't working because I didn't wire them in. But I'm excited. We're making headway. So I'm gonna go back and wire this and try to figure it out with code.
And with that, it was back to asking ChatGPT to write code for me.
Very exciting. It's writing the code for me.
Some might call this cheating, but I can't write code to save my life, and ChatGPT is literally a lifesaver. Plus, I can get it to do a lot more than I am capable of doing by just learning basic code. So, cut me some slack, would you? I'm a musician, not a coder. It's Saturday night, and I should be out and about, but here I am, working on my Loopstation. Most people my age would be out partying and living life, but here I am on Saturday night, trying to work out all the kinks, coding, doing all sorts of shit, and my camera won't even stay still. Good morning. I'm going to try to button everything up and get it to fit together in its woody state, but there's still a bit more to go before I can fully call this thing done. It's still going to be a bit of a journey, so stick with me for that. And yeah, I look like shit. I just woke up. But I really want to get this pedal board done, so see.
At this point, I could really see the end in sight. It was just the last remaining touches that needed to be finished, like just some cable management, a bit of extra touch-ups, like adding this plastic panel that I'm making from this plastic sheet. I'm not sure what it is. It's an acrylic sheet, but it's more flexible than like plexiglass. Still though, you need to snap it to get it to the shape you want. And yeah, you use a box cutter, cut some grooves, and then you just band it and snap it to get the desired shape. And it's just a lot of that until you get the shape you want. That's basically what I did. And then I used some screws, tapped it into place. Used a soldering iron to like make some holes for the pass-through I/O.
Alright. Oh, it's dark. Never mind. It's Bondi time. I have my gloves on because I do not want to get epoxy putty all over my fingernails. I'm going to use it to mount these two cables over here. I am figuring this out for the first time. There's an A and a B, and I'm gonna mix equal parts of each. Hope this stuff is fast curing.
with all the finishing touches to the structural and build stuff done, I closed it up to check my handiwork, and yeah, I think I'm in a happy place right now.
Alright, so after an extensive weekend of testing and getting it fine-tuned, the timing, the latency, everything, it works 100%. I'm so happy. The epoxy putty cured really nicely. Those cables are not going anywhere. I do have maybe a few slight issues with the audio interface, but that's nothing we can sort out later on. So what I'm going to do now is take apart all the pedals, this audio interface, everything, and prepare to surface this raw MDF and plastic to be primed and painted so I can finally finish this off, close it up, and have a finished working loop station. So let's get to doing that.
And anyway, let's get this party started.
Alright, can't believe we're finally here. I'm ready to finish this board, and that means sanding, painting, and all that good stuff. But before that, I'll have to take apart the loop station.
Oh, finally, it's out. This screw was stripped. I hate this. I hate it with all my heart. You shitty screw, I'm replacing you immediately.
If you're wondering what happened there, I stripped the screw earlier on when I was putting together Loopstation, and I just left it there because I couldn't be bothered. And then later on I had to pluck it out with some pliers, and it was a total pain in the ass. Took a lot longer than it is shown on the video, but we got it out. And this is me just taking apart the rest of the Loopstation.
Now we can take out the pedals. So, all the pedals are put on this thing, so I don't need to rewire it when I put it back inside. I can just screw it back in.
Any good finish needs a lot of prep time, and that means a lot of sanding and filing. And just as I was doing all this sanding and filing, I had a surprise visitor drop by.
Look who wandered into my house. We have a cat. Doing cat things over here. Hello, Mr. Cat.
The sanding and filing took way longer than what is shown on videos here, and I was caked in MDF dust after all this was said and done. But the worst mistake was yet to come. As you will soon see, I'm about to make a big mistake. Okay, maybe it's not that big of a mistake, but it's still a pretty big mistake regardless. See, what I'm doing here is sealing the MDF with some wood glue mixed with water 1:1. I saw some recommendations online, and well, yeah, I thought this would be a good idea to seal the MDF and make it easier to paint, but I kind of messed up. I sort of oversaturated the top plate with too much of the solution, and it ended up breaking some of the MDF. It still dried and came out okay, but you can see it's kind of scratchy. But the plus side, it is now tough as nails, kind of like a truck bit, so it kind of worked out in the end. But yeah, don't do what I did here. It's way too much wood glue and water. Would definitely recommend painting less of that on. But after it cured, I just sprayed it with some primer and sprayed it with some flat black paint. I'm doing light coats, a couple passes here and there. 3 coats total each, primer and base coat. No top coat, no clear coat, just the raw paint. I'll tell you how it holds up later on. But now it's finally time for reassembly. I'm just taking out all the masking tape off the bits I masked off. That's the USB-C hub which I left in, and the I/O. And I'm wrapping the bottom with some leather vinyl that I had laying around from the last project. And test fitting the top board. Seems to fit well. Putting in my audio interface and cutting out extra bits of masking tape and vinyl. Laying down some sticky tape. And making room for the pedals. Gonna stick them down. Gonna prepare the OLED screen. Tidying up the wires. Testing out the fitment of the OLED screen on the top plate. Seems to fit pretty snug. Looks nice. Screwing it down. Finally turning it around and buttoning everything up. Just tightening all these screws down. We're so close now.
Hey, no. No. Bye-bye. So, we've come to the end, and I'm going to put a bookmark in this project for now. LUCY MkII, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much done, but I still have some work ahead of me. Ooh, it's reflected. Oh, look at that. From the small demo clip that I showed earlier, you can see it works, but there's still some little bugs and kinks I still need to work out, and also the I/O fell inside, so the epoxy didn't hold up that well. There's a few things here and there that need to be fixed, but coming from the old LUCY to this one is a definite upgrade, especially in terms of the pedals. It's quiet. I have a audio interface built in, so it's a lot more convenient, and these buttons are much better than the previous buttons I used where the pedal toppers would just fall out all the time. I'm happy for now. It's been a few weeks from when I last finished the project, grew out my hair, and yeah, I've just been working on a few more projects and other things, and work and life just got in the way, but I finally have something I can confidently use in live shows, almost. I'm gonna have a follow-up video soon going through in detail every little aspect about LUCY once I have LUCY all fixed up and ready to go and ready to rock or whatever. More so than that, I want to say thank you. I'm Sam. I make music, if you didn't know that already. You can check me out on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever streaming platform of your choice. I would greatly appreciate it if you do check out my music. I do have a brand new song coming out real soon in the month of October, and I would love for anyone who stuck around to the end of the video to go check it out. That would mean the world to me. It supports me in a lot more ways than you think. I don't know how many people are actually going to watch to the end, but if you did, you're a real one. I love you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the support in growing my socials and my music career. I'm really blessed to be in this position, to be able to build stuff like this, to be able to make music, and to do the things I love while balancing a life. I know not a lot of people get that luxury or that opportunity, but I'm just grateful to be in this position that I'm in, and I'm grateful to be able to make this video. So thanks again for watching. If you made it this far, once again, I love you. Comment what was your favorite thing, or what was your favorite fail. If I messed up somewhere in the video, do let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Any engagement is great. Like, subscribe, check out my music. Follow me on all my socials. They're linked below. I think that's it for now. I'll see you real soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. I've been Sam. You're awesome. Take care. God bless. See you next time.